And the rather disconcerting sound of what's either a lorry or could be a loitering drone.
Bloody big drone if it is. I think we just give up now. In the sinister, artillery-battered frontline forests of Kharkiv Oblast, everyone becomes a little drone happy after a while. But we do know the Russian drones are hunting, always hunting, so that nothing can move without jeopardy. Because of the threat, a monumental task becomes almost impossible. A vampire takes flight and bites. Yet often the frontline team simply has to go underground to survive. So we're down in the basement bunker of the Grad squad. In part one of this film about the 13th Khartiia, aka the Billionaires Brigade, we played with their robot dog and other killer ground drones. But this innovative unit, which sees itself as the template for a NATO-style Ukrainian army, also has to use less futuristic kit. Their robot dog is fun, creepy, or just terrifying, depending on your point of view. And 3 million have viewed it so far. But the Khartiia Brigade are also heavily involved in the aerial drone war, which is the trademark of this wider existential conflict. This is what we saw. A freezing winter's night, a few miles from the Russian border. Outside, snow covers the battlefield. But we're cozy and relatively safe here, in the basement of an abandoned cottage. Or perhaps we should call it the crypt. Because this is where, each night, a vampire of the 13th Khartiia Brigade takes flight. This is the vampire, a heavy attack drone which has been adapted from its original peacetime use of spreading fertilizer. Today it's much feared by Russia's frontline soldiers. They call it Baba Yaga, after the witch from Slavic folklore. The vampire operates almost entirely at night, because it is large, noisy, and flies at an altitude of only 60 meters, making it vulnerable to small arms fire in daylight conditions. We're having to wait for the first mission of the night, because there is an air raid alert across Kharkiv Oblast. Ukrainian air defense jamming of incoming Russian Shahed drones could also affect their own outgoing vampires. At last, the air raid alert ends, the jamming ceases. The green light is given. The vampire will fly tonight. The vampire carries a high-definition thermal camera, which at night relays images of terrain and targets to its pilots. This is Frontline cameraman Jamie Wiseman, as seen through the vampire's lens, as it is prepared for its first mission of the night. And this is the vampire's most destructive weapon, an 8-kilogram anti-tank mine, adapted to be dropped as a bomb. The effect on main battle tanks and infantry dugouts can be devastating. But these mines are in short supply. Tonight the vampire will first be carrying a small aerial bomb. The cottage houses a 3-man crew of 2 drone pilots and a sapper to handle the weapons. They work 3 days on and 3 days off. It's like a monastic cell. This is the sapper, call sign Flint. He's loading the night's first bomb onto the vampire. It's to be used against a Russian position dug under a destroyed infantry fighting vehicle, some 6 miles away. The vampire is being prepared in blood-red torchlight. Everything done outside, such as weapon loading, launch and recovery, has to rely on such low-grade illumination to minimize the chance of being spotted from distance.
Оце опасно. Це ще зведено, так? Воно при ударі взривається.
First, he writes a message to the Russians on the bomb casing. It says that the drop is revenge for a missile strike on a Ukrainian shopping mall in 2023. The vampire is lifted and taken through the snow to the launch pad outside the gate. We must retreat to the cellar in case of an accident on takeoff. The vampire's bomb has been armed. We leave the camera outside, which catches the sound of the vampire departing. And off it goes. Aside from Russian air defences, the main challenge tonight will be the strong prevailing wind. It's 10:30 at night. We're in the basement of a cottage in the north of Kharkiv Oblast. The front line is about kilometers away. We're with two drone pilots here who are currently flying a Vampire heavy drone against a Russian position. They've just launched from outside. the drone is carrying a small aerial bomb, a shrapnel bomb, which presumably will be used against an infantry target. I am watching on the monitor here as the Vampire, which is a large drone adapted from agricultural use, is heading towards its target. This is Sharper, who's the commander. He's 27. He was an interior designer before the army. And this is Colosseum, who worked on the railways.
Коротше, під підірваною технікою у них укриття. От, треба його розбити і зробити шкоди, скажімо так.
Плюс, парни, потом следующий вылет за 5 коротких, пожалуйста, предупреждайте.
How far away is the drone now from the target?
8. About 8.
This is not a video game. There are men down there, Russian infantry, with perhaps only a few minutes left to live.
Не понимаю, зачем мне 5 коротких? Там прикрытия будет трудно.
Ну, хер я знаю, наверное, да.
Their last moments will be recorded on high-definition film. Inside our cellar, the mood is calm.
Шапа, на ближнюю летим или на дальнюю?
Ближню.
На ближню 18.
Угу,
Ми вже майже над координатами заходимо.
привет. Да, плюс, бачу.
With the strong crosswinds, Sharper is struggling to hold the Vampire on course.
Ну и дрон тяжелый вообще. Такие порывы.
Вона зверху, да.
Ні, ну вроді вітер менший зараз.
Наверху пориви дивись.
The object we can see wavering about on the screen is the warhead of the bomb.
Шо, как она у тебя полетит, что скажешь?
Ну, зараз сильні пориви, будемо зараз спробувати. Подивимося, куди вітер.
Вот, вправо.
Будемо
Да,
поправку.
плюс, когда днем сигнатурка светится, плюс-минус.
Ну, я понял,
да.
да. Будемо поправку вліво трошки брати по перекрестю.
Діду. Да, Лука на зв'язку. Мені ставили задачу іменно по жопі їй дати. Конкретно в металл? Да.
Капець нос.
Шапа. Слышал?
Да, плюс прямо по сигнатурі пробує, да?
Не, по крышке.
Ну, по кришці.
Не, именно по жопе. Да, вот конкретно, когда ты сейчас целишься, вот туда нужно, грубо говоря, попасть.
Плюс, прийняв.
Точно.
Що це БМП, да, якась?
Да. Ну, страшно просто.
Мені кажется, як вліво качне, надо відпускати. Оп, пошло.
Bomb gone.
Есть розривчик.
An explosion.
Шо?
The darkness changes to brilliant light.
Ну, нормально. Я бы не сказал, что и снаряд видно.
На що, за дерево зачепилось?
В смысле?
Ні, розрив був на землі.
It looks like a direct hit.
Ну як на землі, по самій техніці.
Не, там чітке влучання, просто цей засвіт іде на дерево. Вимикаю трансляцію. Для відоса буду пуль держати.
Ну да, там прям по жопке.
As the drone turns for home, analysis of the first drop begins. Did they hit the target? Will they have to go back to bomb the same target again tonight? The Russians sometimes try to take down the Vampires by firing flares into the sky to illuminate the drone and then opening up with small arms. Occasionally, they even use their own kamikaze drones to trail the Vampire back to its launch and control base, like the one we're in.
Speaking of their experience, like one year of flights, they had only 2 or 3 such cases. So mostly the Russians are trying to hit the Vampire with drones.
At where they find it.
Yeah, when they locate it, they are just trying to hit it at the same moment.
Sometimes the Russians improvise. Here, a Russian Mavic reconnaissance drone tries to ram the much larger Vampire out of the sky. It fails, bouncing off and falling away, a sparrow trying to take on an eagle. But it was worth a go. The Mavic costs a little more than $1,000, the Vampire 25 times as much. Some 20 minutes later, the Vampire returns. Well, the Vampire heavy drone behind me has just, in the last minute, returned from its first mission of the night to drop an aerial bomb on a Russian dugout, which was about 10 kilometers away. As soon as it landed, its batteries were taken out to be changed, and it is now being prepared immediately for its second mission, which will be another bombing raid over Russian lines. The Russian lines are nearest point to here is somewhere around 7 kilometers. It will be armed, recharged, and back in the air within 3 minutes of landing. The team has flown as many as 18 combat missions in one night. Once again, we retreat to the cellar for launch, and then watch the mission unfold. This one will have a different ending.
We can automatically return to home. But when we fly to target, yeah, I must get all this.
Шапом холодурі на дозор. На зв'язку. Старий тести.
Не пройшов повтори.
Що по спутникам у тебе?
Є, но просідають іноді буває.
А ти в польоті зараз?
Да, в польоті.
So on their monitor, the drone is rendered as a green triangle following the flight path, a blue line flight path to the target. It's being piloted here by Sharper. Only once it's dropped its bomb will then the autopilot take over and bring it back to base.
How far away from target?
100 meters.
100 meters. This is the crucial moment of the second mission to complete the destruction of the Russian dugout. The green cross is over the target. The wavering shape on the monitor you can see is the warhead of the bomb as Sharper tries to keep it steady enough to drop.
Да, столько ни хера не видно, кажется, картинка зависает.
Щоб я вже не бачу.
Зараз заходимо на ціль. Заходимо. Де-то тут.
Ось вона,
да.
Ось вона.
Да.
Куди бить, спитаю?
Да. Я просто...
Так,
Хорошо, що ти газу чуєте. Кори, я не вижу.
Куди вражає?
Так же само, да, по жопі.
А де жопа? Я не бачу стежки, яка заходить.
Так, а тепер поясніть по крестику, де жопа в неї. Слева, виходить?
Справа.
Справа,
Да. Справа у тебе жопа.
Все, плюс.
Вот и плюс.
The vampire is above the target.
А яка іменно жопа? Або чого жопа?
Again, they struggle for stability in the high winds.
Жопа згорівшої техніки.
Все. So they are aiming the back part of the burnt vehicle.
Пішовський.
There it goes.
Таке як пішло нижче. Не розрив.
Не розрив.
Nothing.
Причому встряло в техніку і накольник не розірвався.
No brilliant flash like the first mission. The bomb has failed to explode. The pilots say they will reload the vampire when it returns and bomb the target again. We hear the sound of the drone coming into land. It's safely down and ready for its next mission. The anti-tank mine is ready to load, but the pilots have been told by headquarters to prepare for a different mission. First, the vampire's batteries must be changed and replaced with fully charged power packs.
Зараз будемо доставки робити, бо пріоритети. А потім вже сподіваємося, що не буде
Дві
подавлено.
маленькі, мабуть, можна поцепити.
Павербанки, їда, вода, клюйонка, пленка.
Ні, в основному це провізія,
Вода
це
і їжа.
їжа.
A Ukrainian frontline position, which cannot be reached safely by vehicle or foot, urgently needs supplies. The crew call this kind of mission Air Uber Eats. The bomb bay is loaded with resupply packages. Within a few minutes, the vampire is ready to fly again. Air Uber Eats is on its way. Baba Yaga has become an angel of mercy. The following night, we're reminded of the Russian drone threat right across Ukraine. Midnight in the center of Kharkiv, Ukraine's second city. What you can hear is a Russian-launched Shahed kamikaze drone flying very low. In fact, it just passed over the roof of the house where we're staying tonight. It's a sinister sound. Our grandparents and great-grandparents must have thought the same about Nazi doodlebugs. An attack warning has appeared belatedly on the air raid app that we and most Ukrainians carry. In the next 30 seconds, the circling Shahed will crash and detonate. Let's go back into the forest of the northeastern front. Here, under the tree canopy, there is a degree of safety from Russian kamikazes. While we were filming this, a drone could be heard moving backwards and forwards over our position. The soldiers we were with did not know who was controlling it. The soldiers are from the 13th Khartiia Brigade. They're not engaged in the cool cutting-edge stuff for which their brigade is renowned. This is pure grunt work in an area that was recaptured from the Russians in 2022.
Careful.
One of them, called Kharkiv, gives us a walking tour of their position.
And this is artillery?
No.
Yeah. This is what artillery can do to trees. Jamie, have you seen? Yeah, you can see the... Yeah. Some kind of Russian troop transport, a bus, which received a direct hit here in the forest. And I guess that must be some of the... is that from there? Yeah, that is part of it. All the time you can hear the artillery in the background. This is a Russian army ration for eating. Yeah. They are in position where the Russians were dug in 2022 before they were driven out. There's a lot of wreckage and these craters. These are craters or dugouts, but there's dugouts all around. A lot of rubbish left by the Russians, and a lot of damage to the trees where artillery, and you can still hear the artillery in the background, rumbling away and vibrating sometimes. And it would be a very peaceful, beautiful forest in other circumstances, but the detritus of war is all around us. It's not a peaceful place.
We hear an engine approaching.
And a rather disconcerting sound of what's either a lorry or could be a loitering drone.
Bloody big drone if it is. I think we just give up now.
Sometimes a glide bomb is dropped into the forest. This is the crater that one of them caused. And this is why we are here. Concealed under camouflage netting in a tank scrape deep in the forest, the Lion armoured recovery vehicle waits for darkness to fall. And this is its three-man crew. They're classic Generation X soldiers. Kuzia on the left used to be a digger driver. Pavlov in the middle drove vans, while the oldest soldier, call sign Grandpa, worked in a warehouse. Their average age is 44, and their wartime job is to rescue tanks and other armoured vehicles that have been disabled by enemy action or broken down. Most of the work is in or around the front line, where the Russian drone and artillery threat is highest, which is why, almost without exception, an already difficult and dangerous job has to be carried out at night.
It's not a glamorous job, but it's very important, and it can be very dangerous. These guys pull vehicles out while under mortar fire, and also there is the constant threat of the Russian FPV drones, which is why they have this, both the metal cage here, which is designed to stop drones, but also you can see the electronic warfare array on the back of their vehicle, which helps protect them to a certain degree. They also face, of course, heavy artillery, battery fire, and other anti-tank threats while they're doing their job. And they say once they get to the vehicle they're trying to recover, they have to do it as fast as possible. It's looped, yeah, okay, it's not so hard. This is the hawser. Yeah, this is Grandpa helping me. Okay. Oh, two big tow ropes. It's not really the kind of thing that you see on the M1, but this could get an armoured vehicle out of serious trouble, and this is the sort of stuff these guys are doing every day, every week. It's pretty impressive.
Daylight hours are spent sleeping, training, or preparing for the next mission. It's hard manual labour, but practice is vital, as we shall see tonight. They talk to us about the dangers of their duties.
So, are they also recovering vehicles that have been disabled by enemy action?
Так. Ми, якщо техніка, у нас були такі евакуації, прямо був наступ, і хлопці там, при наступі там скочили там в яму, там відвалилось колесо. У нас така була евакуація, ми прилетіли, їх зацепили, прямо там, можна сказати, на полі бою. У нас такі були, в основному, яка техніка не може доїхати своїм ходом, то ми її приїжджаємо, траси накинули, зацепили, утягнули.
Everybody we have in Britain, as I'm sure in Ukraine, if your car breaks down on the road, on the motorway, you can call the guy and they will come in a tow truck.
Yeah.
This is a much more dangerous form of vehicle recovery, because they have to go to places where a location where a vehicle has already been targeted by the enemy.
Yeah.
And pull away. How do they, it is a dangerous job, right?
Ризиковано, правильно, ніж у звичайних.
He knows what I mean.
У нас, якщо ми знаємо заздалегідь, що у нас евакуація, є такі машини, що там, підбили їх, там вони стоять, що там, деякий час. Ми знаємо, що у нас там планується евакуація треба нам її евакуювати. Тоді ми розробляємо там план, дивимось, маршрути, все там, там ми довго, як повністю. Але бувають такі евакуації, що це все дуже швидко. От ми сидимо, чергуємо, там, наприклад, наші там пішли на роботу, ми чергуємо. І тут хлоп нам дзвонять, срочно, машина стала, треба їхати, її забрати, поки її не розбили. І тоді вже... Да, в основному ми як їдемо, у нас то, що риба у нас є, а то, що ми як їдемо на евакуацію, нас в основному ведуть. У нас з нами летить дрон, продивляється маршрут і все, тобто нам...
Розвідник.
Да, бо багато поночі робимо. Що, відомість погана, і нас веде дрон. З нами постійно...
Це щоб вони втратили дорогу?
Да, командири з нами постійно на зв'язку, все, щоб, бо буває таке, що виїжджаєш у місцевість, якої ти взагалі не знаєш. Ти по карті подивився, що ця місцевість, і все, а ти там ні разу не був. І починаєш ночі як ночі. Як немає орієнтирів, по полям їздиш, то...
Talking of drones, could they tell us a little bit about the threat that they face from enemy drones? Because...
Ми стараємось робити все дуже швидко. Ми прилітаємо по максимальному швидкому времени. У нас була така ситуація, ми колись забрали М-ку.
М113.
Да. Там недалеко за Липцями. То ми її зацепили, ми по-бистрому. Ми в основному, якщо ми їдемо цепляти машину, яку ми не знаємо ще, з нами їде ще водитель з цієї машини. Ми одразу, перед тим як виїхати, ми по-любому з ним розробляємо, як ми будемо цепляти, за що її там можна зацепити, які нам вуха треба, щоб ми туди не приїхали і не розвернулися, не поїхали, щоб ми вже знали наверняка. І стараємося проработати так, щоб все це було швидко. У нас була така ситуація, що ми прилетіли, ми швидко зацепили і уїхали. А в нашу сторону вже летів дрон з ТМ-кою, зі скидом, танковою міною.
Зрозумів.
Він нас потеряв, ми просто швидко уїхали, і він там скинув потім міну десь, чи по пацанам, не знаю, куди він скинув, але до нас він не успів. Не повторив, чуть більше може. Там смотря, каже, яка техніка. Є така техніка, що ти приїхав, закріпки тільки плоц і поїхав. А є така, що через скоби треба цепляти. В принципі, ми стараємося так, щоб минути 2-2,5, щоб ми вискочили, зацепились, до 5. Потому что, артиллерии там навестись, сколько там, 4 минуты надо, если нормально навестись.
Ага.
І от ну, нам треба вложитися в це.
Це проміжок до 4 хвилин.
Да, щоб ну.
Ага.
Is it best not to think about what could happen?
Часу нема, чим скоріше, тим лучше.
They've only been together for 5 months, but it's clear that they're already a close-knit team.
And in a couple of hours, the guys who are the crew of this vehicle will be going off on their next mission to pull an armoured vehicle off the battlefield. We don't know yet what kind of armoured vehicle. It might be a tank. But they generally operate in the hours of darkness because of the drone threat, and as the light will be fading later this afternoon, they will start this vehicle up, reverse it out of its vehicle pit, and then off into the front line.
Dusk is approaching, and with it the start of the recovery team's working day. We rendezvous with the crew at the headquarters of one of Khartiia Brigade's tank companies. During combat recovery missions, Kuzio and his mates carry small machine pistols, which are easier to handle inside the Lion's cramped interior than assault rifles. We learn that their job tonight is to rescue a disabled tank from its woodland position to the north of Kharkiv city. This is Samurai, the tank company's commander. He'll also be on the mission tonight.
Вони питають про місію, що будуть хлопці робити. Евакуація іншої машини. Наших суміжних. А прибрав там там механізована Yeah, it's coded. Good. Ты ж понял. Окей?
Yeah, very good. What are they called?
Як називається? Що це? Короче, бублики з м'ясом. Бублики з м'ясом? І в кляні.
The Billionaires Brigade, as Khartiia are known, do hospitality better than most.
Ми бачимо, що пані Анна котлет насмажила. Та от це ж ми хотіли, познімати і все пропустили.
Поїхала красоту, мабуть.
This is Anna, the company's celebrated cook.
Like our commander did her.
Like a football transfer.
Yeah, football transfer.
Darkness. The mission is about to begin. Samurai leaves on a quad bike with an armed escort riding pillion. The Lion is also on the move, growling along the nighttime highways in the direction of the front line. This is classic Ukrainian winter mud. A tank recovery vehicle can get down here easily enough, but that's the problem. Our 4x4 flounders in what has been churned up by the Lion's powerful tracks.
Каже, в началі тільки ямки тут уже нема різниці.
For a minute or two, it seems we can go no further.
Та отут. Тут ж нема ямок.
Утром тут же только что проезжали. От пониженных ключей на пониженных буксу, блядь.
Все, понял, дякую. Дякую.
Сейчас, если что-то у нас есть, ну приедет, ты выходишь и подтянет.
Бремка моя приїде, вона тягне.
Finally, we get through. The disabled tank is on the edge of a wood. Around it already, there is a hive of activity.
The armoured recovery crew is here now and is trying to pull the tank out of its position so it can be taken back to the depot. They've got it attached to a tow bar, and so far they've moved it about 3 or 4 feet. But they are struggling. It's very muddy, it's pitch black. We're not right on the front line, but we're sufficiently close for it to be a meaty target for Russian kamikaze drone operators, which is why this recovery is taking place at night time.
In peacetime, the tank would be removed at relative leisure in daylight. Now, speed is of the essence, and only red torches can be used safely to light the work. There's also a little natural illumination. The operation is taking place under a full moon that would be romantic in other circumstances. The Lion, which can pull 75 tons, takes the strain once again. Still, the tank refuses to budge more than a few feet. The clock is ticking well into overtime. The men struggle to engage and disengage the two tow bars as they try to angle the tank between trees. A sense of urgency now. Thermal drones are a threat. Finally, the Lion has got good purchase. The crippled tank begins to move through the wood into the field beyond. The tank will be vulnerable in daylight if left here. It will now be hauled back up the track we struggled to come down, to where a transporter is waiting. Meanwhile, the thermal drone threat remains high. They've already taken far longer than desired to get this far. Finally, the disabled tank has been extracted from the wood. It's taken half an hour, but the Russians haven't seen or interfered. It will live to fight another day, as will Kharkiv and his comrades. The operation took far longer than usual, but Samurai is pleased. As we return to base, the mood is good. In a hole in the ground in a rain-swept wood, just behind the Kharkiv front line, a monster stirs. This is not an ULEZ compliant monster. This grad launcher belongs to 13th Khartiia Brigade. It's been moved out of its camouflage tank scrape to prepare for a fire mission against a Russian position a few miles from here.
It's a cold, wet January morning. We're just behind the front line in Kharkiv in a wood. Behind me you can see one of the original Soviet-era grad launcher trucks. It's just emerged from its hole in the ground in the wood. It's possibly there will be a fire mission. Ammunition is quite short, which is the story of Ukraine's war at the moment. But the grad has got 40 tubes, about 38 of them are loaded, I can see. And the average range for one of their fire missions is something like 18 kilometers, just over 10 miles. But with special ammunition provided by Serbia, they can sometimes reach up to targets 40 kilometers from the launch point. There's a constant grumble and crash of artillery. You might be able to pick it up behind me. It's It's not one of the most fiercely contested sector of the 1,000-mile front line, but it is very active. And but today, with the rain, hopefully the drones will not be particularly effective.
The hope that the rain will keep away hostile drones proves to be in vain, as we shall see.
This is the commander of this particular grad crew. His call sign is Black, and he's from the city of Dnipro. Commander, could you tell me what kind of targets your crew is usually launching against?
Зазвичай це скупчення піхоти, техніки, а також бліндажі і в основному це піхота.
I saw the truck is kept in a dug-in position under the forest here. What is the enemy drone threat like in this sector for you?
Ну, іменно в нашому районі загроза дронів дуже висока. Також це ланцети, зала, також і впівішки долітають. Тобто у нас капонір укритий сітками якраз від цього, щоб не попали і також не видно.
Ні, друже, я перепрошую. Просто по країнам скажи, будь ласка, якщо можна, які країни виробляють БК, які ви використовуєте?
Нам привозять, як і ще знаходять Совдеп, так як і Англію привозять, і Польщу, якщо не плутаю.
When you're on a fire mission, obviously there is a danger of being seen and counter-battery fire and drones. Do you have a kind of a maximum time for which you can get into a position, fire, and then leave the position?
Так, час на свіст, все залежить від слаженості роботи самого екіпажу. Для всього цього нам потрібно, щоб підработав град хвилин так 5. Це з тим учетом, що підготовлена позиція, виставлена бусоль.
Just one final question for the commander. What hopes do you have for the year 2025? We're just into this new year.
Before he can answer, there is an urgent interruption.
Диджайка приближается меньше километра к нам. Сигнал чіткий чи не знаю.
Диджайка менше кілометра. Що робимо?
В укриття?
Не знаю.
Ні, я кажу в укриття.
Окей.
Richard, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, okay, there's a drone very close. We're having to, with a grad, launch it back in the shelter, and we're going to have to go to the shelter ourselves.
Okay, go.
I'm showing the warning signals on a drone detector.
What can you see?
I see that we have strong radio signal. We see, according to this, I can say that we have video transmission. According to this number, I can say that this drone is somewhere less than 1 kilometer.
1 kilometer from here, yeah. It doesn't tell you what kind of drone, though.
According to the frequency, it's some kind of DJI Scout drone.
Okay, like a Mavic or something.
No,
bigger.
Like Mavic or something like this. For Mavic, it's too strong signal. You see, we have blue color.
Yeah.
Someone try to jam this frequency.
Oh, okay.
So instead of witnessing a grad launch, we find ourselves taking shelter in the basement of an abandoned cottage.
А там контракт внизу?
Там уже дежурит.
Ну да, мини-пост.
Oh, cool. So we're down in the basement bunker of the grad squad. There's an alarm on because there's a reconnaissance drone, Mavic, DJI style reconnaissance drone within a kilometre. They're trying to jam it, but it's very close, and so we're now underground, where it's very cosy. We have a little pot-belly stove here, and this is where the guys live, as you can see. It's 4 bunks, and we're as safe as we possibly could be in the circumstances, as usual.
Сделали чай.
So this guy also sends drones here.
What's the dog's name? Jack.
We leave a camera and microphone outside to record the artillery duel. but it also catches the birdsong, the haunting duet. The artillery strike is postponed, but the war in the wildlife carries on without us.